So this is I'm Steve Moore. I'm joining you again with some continuing discussions that we're having on the COVID-19 crisis and how it's impacting small businesses and businesses here in the Southern Ohio community. We continue this dialogue. We continue to work together to try to figure out the challenges that we're all facing. Just kind of reminders that we've had in the past. There's nothing more important than the health and safety of our families, our friends, and our communities. So as we've said here in the past, nothing that we're going to say is taken away from any of that information. It's more about us talking about the business issues and concerns that people have and trying to answer some of those questions. I appreciate the dialogue. I'm here today with Joe Barton. Joe is the business manager for WAI Construction Group, one of the businesses that I own, and also part of a lot of other businesses that I support as well. And what we thought about would be important today is just simply having a more in-depth dialogue on kind of the payroll protection program, as well as the called loan forgiveness or those things. We've started the process like so many other people, and it's painful.
Well, sort of, I think. Yeah.
But I think part of what we want to share with the community here is our experiences in going through it, and really just kind of make sure that we're all synced up and realize that we're probably all experiencing the same kind of things, but maybe just a little bit more detail. So, Joe, I think we probably started, so we have multiple businesses, and I think you started with the first one a week ago.
Yeah.
And so, again, maybe just kind of share from your perspective how that's working and where you're at. We're with, in that particular one, the bank, not necessarily to disclose specifics, but this is a top 5 bank in the country. So to give everybody perspective, it's, big banks, little banks, everybody's kind of in the same boat. Right. So how do you feel like it's working so far?
I'm pretty surprised that the promises that they're making on how quickly it can happen. And on the other hand, when it was announced last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend before, whatever, I didn't think it was necessary to stop what I was doing on a Sunday afternoon and go make that application.
Right.
But by the time I got to work Monday, got the application started, or the process started, I should say, I was shocked to find out how quickly they shut things down in terms of delaying. So it was never just to fill out the application and get your money. As they advertised it, the banks were still trying to figure out how to do it. What needed to, how they were going to gather the information. So it started, I think, with a lot of banks, it starts with an email to them proving you are who you are, verify your email, then verify who you are. What is your account number? Almost every bank that I've seen, I'm pretty sure all of them, you have to be an existing customer. You can't just go in and go, I'll open a checking account if you'll do my loan tomorrow, which I think probably several people have tried that. So we got in and went through 3 of those steps, and by Tuesday morning, first thing, I thought I would have the application in my email box, and I did not. They said at that point they'd stopped and that it would be in another couple days. Then on Thursday they followed up again and said, we've got your information, you're in the process, don't worry, there's nothing more for you to do, we'll be reaching out to you. And today I expected to see it and I didn't see it yet. But I think it's, from what I've talked to, the people that I've talked to, everybody's experiencing about the same thing. Big banks, small banks.
Sure. And your perspective on that, so it's not, hey, they're out of money. It's this is the process that is they're going to go through. And one of the things you and I talked about as an example, so the actual check to individuals, like the $1,200 program, that program, from my recollection, was probably implemented a couple of weeks ahead of this loan forgiveness for small businesses.
That's right.
And it looks like that's supposed to happen this week.
I think direct deposit customers, there may be a few people that have gotten them, but I think the bulk of them are supposed to come later this week. And then they're supposed to put out that on the IRS website where you can put in your direct deposit information.
Again, just to maybe put it in perspective and ease some people's mind, that program hasn't even hit the street, so to speak, yet. That's right. And that's a lot less complicated than what's happening. You made a comment earlier about, what's the analogy? It's like you and every friend is deciding to get a loan the same day.
You just ask your friends, they're like, what, your friends, when they get 1 loan a month, maybe somebody who went for a mortgage. Now every single one of your friends went on the same day to the bank to get a loan. They're just not staffed for it. And I was a banker in prior years, and I feel for those people. They're trying to organize their information. They don't want to lose your information, or have their systems crash, so they need to just get everybody to calm and walk through this rather than trying to run in.
So nuts and bolts that we've talked about a little in the past. So with the wages and how to track costs and things like that, advice to people, maybe in a little detail.
Yeah, my advice is that I think this is one of the biggest program everybody's interested in, the Paycheck Protection Program, because it's forgivable. I think you're going to see more from the government. They're trying to be helpful. They want to do what they can. So I would certainly not be out spending money that you wouldn't normally spend. But if you have expenses that are specifically related, I know in your companies, I'm keeping track of everything. I've created COVID-19 codes that if we had to build a hand wash station on a certain job site, I wanted to keep track of the extra sanitizer. Keep track of all this in case there are programs. I bet there will be. To say, hey, you contributed, you stayed working. We could just send everybody home and say we're not set up for this, or we could spend a little, invest a little, and right. Try to do what we can. In the construction industry, we're privileged to be able to stay. Yep. I guess I'm not sure privileged is the word, but we got to stay in business, which is good. But there certainly are a lot of expenses in trying to make a safe environment for all of our employees, which is most important.
So your advice in some respects is err on the side of
too much information. Don't lose a receipt. You'll regret it later. You think, well, I went in and bought that, but I didn't keep that. So right. Just keep it. Keep a folder. Go, these are the things that you're buying. These are the things that you did. This is the extra payroll. This is the, I brought my employee in for 20 hours that week to clean the office. I really didn't need to, but I wanted to pay him. Keep track of that payroll. Code it to something you'll be able to pull it later and go, there wasn't an added expense to our company. I think it'll pay off in the long run.
Well, the other thing we've heard too, just to share with people so everybody kind of hears and feels the same thing, is that, this is one program that's rolled out. Oh, yeah. They're already, stimulus, pick your number that's coming after this that's already being talked about. At least one of the things I've heard is that some of the stuff you're talking about, while it may not be completely applicable for this program, it may be in the form of a tax credit that's given in another program or something going forward. So
I would have to think there'll be a line item on a tax form someday where they're going to go, what did you spend on this?
And again, being able to recoup that and figure that out. I think the other thing that I'm hearing that people are concerned about the way this one rolled out too was the whole, first come, first serve, somebody going to run out of money and then I'm going to be at the end of the line. I mean, the things I'm hearing is that, again, with these additional programs that are coming, first of all, I haven't heard anybody say that the program's out of money.
Right. No, I just hear people worried. Well, why did they shut down? They don't have any more money to loan. I missed it. And I don't think that's the case. And I think every bank, the big banks, the smaller banks, they had to come up with a plan overnight. The government wanted them to do it because they're the vehicle that knows how to do it. But at the same time, they were overwhelmed. They're trying to allocate resources to get more loan officers to get this stuff going. There are small banks that have never been involved with the SBA before. They usually push that off to the bigger banks in your communities. Yeah. And they're told, hey, you are the one that have these customers, and they came to you because you're a small bank. Now you have to service them because the big banks aren't going to say, well, come on and we'll give you a loan. Sure. You need to go to your local one, and it may take them a week or two longer. And I realize I'm making it sound simple, and it's not. A week or two longer is awful for some businesses, but I'm confident. I feel fairly confident it's not going to be months. Hopefully in another week or so, we get the ball rolling.
And I think as far as the program or the funding in particular, again, what we're hearing with these other programs, if at some point this particular funding that came from that particular stimulus starts to get challenged, right. Again, the expectation is there's just going to be the next round that funds that. Yep. Slightly different mechanism or whatever.
And that always takes time to get through, but at the end of the day, when it's necessary, it happens.
So the other question that we've talked about, and again, just to share with everybody, is so with decisions about where, as I'd shared with in the past, you've got some businesses that are completely unaffected. That's probably not a fair statement, but are still operating at kind of full capacity. Mm-hmm. You've got others that are completely shut down. Right. And then you've got a big group that are in the middle, which is, I got most of my operations, but some people are not or whatever. Right. So from kind of your perspective of making those decisions individually as business owners to say, this person's laid off and they're going to go on unemployment. This person I'm paying for, and then as it relates to this program. Right. So is this an opportunity for, if somebody laid some people off, maybe call them back and use this as a funding mechanism? What's your thought on the logic of how people should work through
That's
it?
my biggest concern. If you knew that they could give you, the government could give you a date, said next Thursday you get your money back, boy, that makes the decisions easier, because just call your employees back, put them on 40 hours, you're going to get reimbursed. There's bound to be things that you can do to make your place better, or they can work from home. Maybe they're not fully functional to 40 hours a week, but at least
Somewhere
they're getting their
between.
paycheck, they're keeping their health insurance, it provides a lot. But unfortunately, the reality is a lot of businesses don't have enough cash or capital available to just cover 2 weeks payroll. If this takes 3 weeks, you could bankrupt some companies. So you got to look at your own situation. There's all the other things that are out there, the unemployment and the bonus to unemployment. I've heard several of my colleagues, people that I know on the outside of our businesses, that are like, well, they're almost making it attractive for some of these employees to stay home. Right. And they don't want to come back. So you might want to reach out to your employees, find out what they're doing and what it would look like in terms of that, because you want to do what's best for them. You don't want to lose your workforce. Unfortunately, it's sort of an individual decision, I think.
And I would also advise people too, again, you've got a really strong background in a lot of areas, but having individual small business owners working with their accountants and people, just I guess I would say don't hesitate. Everybody's busy right now.
That's
I mean,
right.
we know that, but don't hesitate when you start to see, if you feel concerned about those decisions, to get
Reach
a
out.
tax professional or an accounting professional to help you do that kind of rough
100%.
Math in your head, or
100%.
whatever that you want to do.
Everybody's got a different situation, but usually those kind of professionals, people that know your situation, that you trust, those are the people to go to, because they'll be able to say, hey, you have that line of credit, go ahead and hit I feel comfortable with that, or you've got enough cash, go for it, or hey, don't do it right now, we're not sure where we're at. But I think that the good thing is there's a lot of different choices. The bad thing is there's a lot of different choices. So it's different for each person.
Anything significantly surprise you with interacting with the banks or anybody right now?
I think like I said, I was once a banker, so I kind of feel for them when I get them on the phone, where a lot of people are like, you don't understand, I need it faster than that, and I believe they're doing everything they can. Just stay in contact with them, know that they're doing the best they can at their business too, that's now been flooded, and they have their families at home, but at the same time, stay in touch. Don't forget. It's just, I'll let you know, I still wait every other day and call and go, hey, am I still in the line here?
Right.
Because it's important. You don't want to miss that. Oh yeah, those emails went out yesterday. So I wouldn't call them every hour, but I would certainly check every couple of days with an email, or however to contact your banker.
So persistence and perseverance,
That's right.
and realize that,
And patience.
and patience, and to our conversations, just again realizing that if don't feel like you're the only one that's not getting the kind of response that you'd hope for. I mean, we are kind of still all in this together. And
I had 2 other phone calls today of people that going, my bank's telling me, and I couldn't believe that. I think they can't do. I'm like, even the largest banks are having a hard time handling this right now. Just in terms of, if you have that much paperwork on your desk, you can only go through it so fast, and you only have so many employees that are trained to do it. It's from what I've seen, fairly simple process. It's not dragging in 5 years worth of tax returns and making spreadsheets and all that. They're going to make it as simple as possible, and we've got to be grateful for that. But it's going to still take time to just process the sheer number.
Absolutely. So listen, I really appreciate this. I hope this is the kind of dialogue that just helps, as we've said in this process. It's not necessarily to answer every individual question, but I feel like if we all can share the same thoughts and ideas, we're all working it together. The community here in Southern Ohio and the business owners are really important and vital to this part of the area, and I just want to continue to try to reach out, and I just appreciate your time and your insight, and hopefully this has helped some people move along, or at least sleep a little better at night.
I realize we're all in the same boat, but yes,
But thank you for this, and we'll chat some more as people ask questions or we find out more. So,
Absolutely.
Thank you. So if you're a business owner in Southern Ohio, please search on the Facebook page, The Steve Moore Group, and join our group, join the dialogue. Hopefully some of this information sparks some other thoughts or ideas and engage us in that process, and we hope to continue to work through this together and be safe. Thank you.